special feeling in Oldsmobile. There is a special feeling in Oldsmobile. More than the luxury ride, it's a feeling of pride that you feel inside.
Hey everyone, so this is my 1992 Oldsmobile Toronado Trofeo. About approximately 2 years ago, I pulled this car out of a field and got it running again, saved it from the grave. I was originally going to go to a scrap yard, but yeah, brought it back to life. And needed a couple things. I'll have the original video linked down in the description. But it's back again. I actually sold this car not too long after I got it running to a friend. Their Trofeo was down and it had a Tevis system. So I traded their broken Tevis system 90 Trofeo for this 1992 Trofeo. And it served them well over the course of the year and a half. And they upgraded to a newer car finally, and they originally sold it to a friend of mine because I didn't need it at the time, and then my friend didn't want this car no more, so it is come full circle and back to me. So yeah, it's been passed around a couple times, and let's just say it actually had a lot of work done. A lot of work. It's got brand new brake lines, front and rear rotors and pads, a whole new ignition system that I put in for my friend, idle control sensor. The catalytic converter was taken off because it was clogged and replaced. Just many things. Headlight motor's dead. That's why the headlights are down. But today we're going to see if we can get this thing to run properly, because it is bucking and kicking whenever you give it throttle under load. So anything between moderate to heavy acceleration, or trying to get it above 20 miles an hour. So I'm going to replace the MAF sensor and the TPS sensor today. I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's get started into this. This is for pretty much all 3800 Series 1 Buick V6s that came in a variety of cars from 1988 to 1994/95 if it wasn't switched over to Series 2. So without further ado and enough stalling, let's get started. Always make sure when you're going to be replacing electronic items on your vehicle, make sure you disconnect the battery. And now that that's disconnected, we can move on to the MAF sensor. Next is to take off the MAF sensor. The MAF sensor is this right here. It's held on by 3 screws. You use a flat tip screwdriver, such as this one, or a Phillips head. I've had more luck with the flathead because when you use a Phillips head, the screws tend to strip out and then it gets real messy and you gotta do some planning in order to get the broken or stripped screws out. So we're gonna go ahead and take this off. It's just 3. You have one here, one that's just right behind this cover, but you can get underneath it, and then the one down here. And make sure you remove this plug. It's just a standard, just pull it out. So let's get it started. This is always the hardest one to get to, due to its nature of being pretty confined space. I'm gonna just hold on to that screw there, make sure it doesn't come off. There we go. Here's the old MAF sensor. You can see on this one, this wire, let's see, which one is it? Now, this front wire, it's completely black, and it's actually snapped right at the end here. It's kind of hard to see, but just trust me, it's snapped right there. So this one's no longer good. This is actually the OEM one, but yeah, there's the part number. I believe this is actually from a 89 or something, because the part number doesn't really match up, and it didn't really make the car run very well. So we're going to toss this one, and we're going to put the new one on, which is a Duralast. Usually I don't like using those parts, but this one was tested and pulled from a running car that I had a couple of years ago, and I know that it's good. I've kept it in a dry space. And there's a warranty on it. And that's the best thing you can have on parts like this, because electronic parts are not made well these days. So let's grab the new one. And here's the new one. See, it's still the 3-pin design. It's got a better cover casing to protect the wires. Wires are good inside. You can actually see the colors. Nothing looks blackened or destroyed. The wires are connected very well. There you go. It is a Duralast. It was made in China, but the part will work. Like I said, I don't usually like using Duralast. If you're going to do this to one of your cars, please use a Denso or some type of OEM supplier or AC Delco. But then again, even AC Delco's been sketchy on the details lately. So we're going to put this one in. I know this works, so we're going to use this one. This is pretty much just a test, because we still have the TPS sensor, or, well, throttle position sensor to take care of. And reinstalling is the same as removing. Just put it in this hole here, match it up with this here. If you do it correctly, you'll have a snug fit, and all the bolt holes will align. Make sure to plug that back in when you're done. So, there you have it. That's how you install a new MAF sensor. Next, we'll be moving on to the TPS sensor and how to remove it. So, let's get set up for that. So this project has gone way out of hand. Here's the throttle body. There's where it used to be. I guess I'll walk you through on how I did this. There's only a couple bolts that you need to take off and 2 clips. Technically there's supposed to be 2 of these, but one snapped, so I'm gonna have to figure out that. And then only 3 main bolts that hold on the throttle body. It'll be 2 on the left side, just above each other, and then 1 on the right side towards the back of the car. And then you'll have 2 clips here that hold the throttle and the cruise control cable on. I'll show you all that here. So here's the cruise control and the throttle cable. Those mount onto this rod here. The cruise control, I believe, is down here, and the throttle cable is up here, or vice versa. I can't really remember which one it was. But either way, they both have these clips on both sides. You just take a flat tip screwdriver, just pry it up a little bit, and they'll pull straight off. Then you have the 3 studs here. They have the 3 main bolts, and you just take those off. They're 13 millimeters, very easy. Remember, there is going to be some coolant in here, so make sure you clean this up before you put it all together. You kind of see that mine was leaking, so I'm going to have to replace this gasket, this throttle body gasket. And then on top of that, here is the bolts, or that's the bolt hole, and that's the other one. But on mine, you can see, you know, I took the screw out of that one, but that one was already snapped in there when I went to get it. So, yeah, this is the best way to pull your sensors for your IAC and for the throttle position sensor. So, I'm going to pull this, and I actually have to go out and get a new one, so I'll be right back. I got the new sensor here. Comes with 2 new bolts. Got the bracket and the sensor itself. It's just 2 screws, and you want to try to align this up as best you can. Maybe take a picture from above like this, kind of see where it's angled at. Like this one is, you know, the tire circle is covered in this one, but just a tiny bit is showing on this for the hole on the bracket. So make sure you try to line it up. Once we put it in the car, we're going to leave the 2 screws loose, and then when we get into the car, we're going to activate the self-diagnosis and then look at what signal the TPS is putting out. On these 3800s, it is 0.04 or 0.4, I believe, somewhere in that area. And we'll go from there. Oh, and I also put a new gasket on. This is the old one. It was cracked right there and leaking a whole bunch. You can see that there was actual fluid getting in. But yeah, we cleaned up the surface and cleaned up the general area. So now the throttle body will seat properly. Yeah, it's all back together. A little bit more work than I thought, but not too bad. Glad we could replace that gasket. You can see the new gasket shining there. The throttle body. Got the new sensor in down there. So hopefully that fixes our issue. I readjusted the TPS sensor, and we should be good to go. There we go. So I'm waiting for it to get up to operating temperature here before I take it for a drive, but the idle seems to be a lot smoother. So that's at least 1 plus. So just gonna wait until that hits about 180, 190, and then we'll take it for a test drive here. Oh, there you go. I just took it on a test drive, and the stuttering isn't as bad. I still got a misfire somewhere that I gotta figure out, but the car runs 100 times better. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing on this black Trofeo before I sell it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.